Hey everybody, hope you've been enjoying our video blogs over the last couple of weeks. And we're here today with a little departure from that format. This is going to be the last episode of Hiatus Fun for the time being, and we're going to be back next Monday with the premiere of Season 4 of Unleashed. So don't forget to tune in for that. But this week, instead of another video blog, we're going to show you an interview with some of the guys that help make Unleashed for you to enjoy each and every week. We really couldn't do the show without these guys, and they don't get a lot of credit. They're very behind the scenes, but you know they contribute just as much as the rest of us. So we thought we'd give them their moment in the sun. This interview was conducted by Eric Mortensen of Blip.tv, and here it is. And we'll see you next week for the premiere of Season 4.
The craft of acting is not for the meek.
Hi, I'm Eric Mortensen. I'm the director of content here at Blip.tv. Dina Kaplan is on vacation right now, and while she's gone, we're going to be airing an interview I did with the creators of the animated series Unleashed. It's a fairly long and very interesting interview, so we will be showing it to you in two parts. You can watch the first part today. Can you guys tell us a little bit about Unleashed? Give us like, you're in a studio executive's office. Give us the pitch.
You do that.
Okay, well, the first thing I would say is the studio executive needs a cleaner office. But Unleashed is a show about animal actors in Hollywood and their trials and tribulations. It focuses mostly on dogs, but there's also birds and pigs and fish and cats.
We had a penguin.
And a penguin, yeah, which is a bird. So
flightless.
That would go under, yeah.
So people are confused.
Birds and flightless.
Maybe they thought there was only flighted birds. So we should clarify.
Yeah, that's true. There is yet to be an ostrich, but
stay tuned.
The point is that you know it's about animal actors and what they have to go through, just like human actors, but they have to go through it many times, 4 times as much because they have 4 times as many legs. Or twice.
If you're an octopus. The octopi have to go through it 4 times as much. Generally dogs, cats, twice as much.
What happens in their lives. They have to audition. They, have a circle of friends, and some of them are more successful than others, and they have to deal with, living up to that, and, their insecurities.
They take acting classes. They they struggle with art versus commerce. It's a big and ongoing theme.
Mm-hmm. What led you guys to make your characters animals instead of humans?
I think it's just more interesting. Like you can kind of, first of all, it's a little easier to do because they're kind of cuter, and so you can make them in some cases less likable, and you can get away with it.
This show originally was Ben's brainchild. I mean, he's the one who thought of it. Why do you think of a dog?
No, well, I don't know. The idea came from I had it was sort of a combination of these 2 different jobs that I had. One, the first job I had out of college was coordinating stupid pet tricks for Late Show with David Letterman, and so there was a lot of, it sort of struck me at the time that people that wanted to get their pets on that show were a lot like stage mothers in many ways, so I thought that was kind of funny, and so I just had this sort of germ of an idea kicking around. I didn't know how you would ever do it. And then from there I worked at a show called Dr. Katz, Professional Therapist, that was on Comedy Central. And it was a cartoon, and they did, they had sort of they wrote all their scripts in a real improvisational kind of way. And they were able to kind of go on and explore all these kind of topics and come up with these jokes and ideas. And then because it wasn't on video, they could go back and edit the audio, and you could get away with murder, cutting out, all kinds of stuff that didn't work. Leave in just the good stuff, and then put the animation on top of it in a way that you can't really do with film or video, because you'll see backgrounds and stuff cutting and jumping around, and it doesn't fit very well. So it was a kind of marriage of those 2 ideas, and it just seemed like something that I hadn't really seen before, and a way to look at. There's a lot of Hollywood satire and parody and that kind of stuff, but we hadn't really seen anything like this.
I think it's great because, first of all, everyone. Well, I know Ben and I also grew up together, and we both have always had dogs, and we both like dogs, and everyone likes dogs, and most people are very unlikable, but every dog is likable. So, I think it's however you came to that decision was a good choice.
That's true. It was.
Although it can be a little rough. You get it?
No, I refuse to get that. We went as far as recording audio for it in my apartment.
In like the year 2000.
2000, yeah.
Yeah, 2000 to 2001. A very long time ago.
And so I cut the audio together. What I did at Dr. Katz was audio editing, so I learned all that stuff. So I'm sort of watching their system, and that's how I figured out how to do it. So I cut this audio together into, you know, like a 3 or 4 minute scene. The first scene that we both really liked. We thought it was funny. And
but we improv'd it. Basically.
Yeah.
I mean, he had 2 microphones in his apartment in Jersey City, right? And it was like, we just had these 2 microphones up, we were in the same room, and we just started talking back and forth.
Yeah.
And then,
and then, but that was the easy part, because, anybody can sort of sit in a room and talk, much as we're doing now. So we recorded the audio, we cut the audio down, no problem, and the audio sounded great, we liked it, put in sound effects and everything, and then nothing happened for 5 years. So,
and then every so often I'd call Ben and be like, hey, what's going on with that show? What was it called originally?
And then I would hang up.
What was the show called originally?
And we didn't speak for many years.
What was the show called originally?
It was originally called The Jungle, I think.
Right, The Jungle, yeah. So be like, what's going on with The Jungle? You're lazy, you're worthless.
Yeah.
But then,
he's not wrong. I give him credit for that. But basically there was nothing, one part of the problem is that we didn't have anybody to draw it. We can't draw.
Yeah, that was a big
so that was a setback as far as animation goes. But then even if we had recruited, we initially did it, we thought maybe we would take it around and pitch it to cable channels or networks or whatever. And, that's still essentially kind of what we ended up doing, or what our goal was just to put a demo together. And we eventually found a guy, Scott Harris, who's a friend of ours, to draw it. And we kind of figured out, like right around the time that we got to know Scott very well, the podcast was something that was kind of starting to happen. And so that part of it, the first part of it happened in 2000, and then the rest of it happened 5 or 6 years later. And so, really, even at that point, I thought, well, we'll start. Looks like we can do this on a kind of regular basis, and maybe we'll try and build up an audience, and we can shop it around to TV or whatever. But at this point, a lot of people are watching it online, and certainly more than would ever see it if it just was sitting on our shelf somewhere. So.
Well, what I think is so funny is that when we original first scene that we did in the year 2000, okay, and then and we were in the same room, like 2 feet from each other, much like we are now. It may be a little bit closer.
This isn't 2 feet.
Yeah. And when we did the real first episode that people have seen, I was in Los Angeles and Ben was in New Jersey. Well, but think about it. When we started this, there was no iMovie, there was no GarageBand, there was no OSX. Yes, it is. In 2000.
Oh, in 2000.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. So if those things really facilitated.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So apologize immediately because I made a very valid.
So it's not necessarily just the internet or the burgeoning online video movement that made this happen. There's a lot of tools beside that made this possible for you.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And a lot of things came together just oddly enough kind of at the same time.
And you know what, frankly, I feel at least the ease of doing it helps creatively, because you don't have to spend as much time like figuring out how you're going to edit something, and you can really just focus on the craft.
Well, I think also that the fact that it really only takes 3 people to do this,
right?
Means that it gives us a lot more flexibility, because first of all, because we don't have to do anything that anybody else wants. If we like a joke or don't like a joke, it's in or it's out based on that. And so, if it's Sunday afternoon when I put off editing until the last second and I find that we're missing something that we need, it's not that big of a deal to just find this extra piece
or
record a line. No, well, it's not a big deal for you either, because
Sunday afternoon.
you're really not very helpful in that way, or any other way that I can do.